sometimes it is cheaper to just pay somebody off, you know what I'm saying, as opposed to the potential public the public outrage and the public judgment and stuff like that. Sometimes it behooves a person to just settle like that, but this is not the case. You tested positive. It was already out in the public, so it would behoove you to prove your innocence, that maybe you did actually get a contaminated batch of something. But he wasn't confident, man. So I think it's an injustice to not just Devin Haney, but injustice to boxing as a whole. To every time you mention that fight and you do not mention the PEDs, you know what I'm saying? He's not the first person to pop dirty. He's not the last person to pop dirty. So why is everybody hesitant to mention the PEDs? I'm not hesitant. I'm gonna mention it every goddamn time. And I put money on Ryan Garcia. I like Ryan Garcia more than I like Devin Haney. Not anymore now, because he's talking about F Muslims and F blacks and all this other nonsense that he said. He's stupid, but and racist. But before that, I was going for Ryan Garcia. I put money on Ryan Garcia to win because I think stylistically it's a good matchup in favor of Ryan Garcia. But it doesn't change the fact that he had PEDs in the system. So I don't care what happened. I don't care how many left hooks Devin Haney didn't block. I don't care what kind of, I don't care that his shoes look like socks. I don't care how many left hooks he didn't block. I don't care if his shoes look like socks. I don't care if he got his entire block rocked. Devin Haney in 5. But nah, all jokes aside, I don't care about that stuff, man. The man cheated. Like I said, I will always repeat this. When we saw Justin Gatlin test positive for PEDs in track, we didn't say, oh, he tested positive for PEDs, but his opponents could have ran faster. When Lance Armstrong got popped dirty for cycling, we didn't say, oh, well, he was cheating, but his opponents could have pedaled harder. When Jose Canseco and Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa and Barry Bonds allegedly, every time they hit those home runs and they tested positive for cheating, I didn't hear anybody say, oh, well, the pitchers could have threw the ball better. Nobody said that. Nobody said that. So why all of a sudden when somebody cheats, we're telling Devin Haney, oh, he should have fought better? You see what I'm saying? I've never seen nothing like this before in my life, ever in my life. We're still talking about Conor Benn potentially cheating Chris Algieri when he knocked him out. But the guy who actually tested positive for 60 times the allowable limit, in fact, it was 20 times more than the amount that Amir Khan tested positive for 0.3 nanograms per milliliter of ostarine. He got 2 years for it in England. Ryan Garcia tested positive for 6 nanograms per milliliter. That's 20 times as much as Amir Khan, but he got half the time. He got a year. You tell me if that makes sense. That people are questioning, oh, it's an insignificant amount. No, you just have the insignificant amount of comprehension in your gosh dang incompetent ass head to understand the effectiveness of PEDs.